Good morning, everyone. We are blessed to have the amazing Blaine Bartlett with us for Office Hours episode 840 or so. We don't really know; it's farther than not. We know there's at least 840 episodes that we've been doing. Blaine was here at the beginning. It's the Soul of Business edition of Office Hours. He has his extraordinary books behind him as well, including Compassionate Capitalism. Blaine Bartlett, welcome back to Office Hours.
Hey, well, you too. Welcome back into the country. Yeah, you
Yeah,
had quite the journey in the last
I
couple of
know.
weeks here.
Yeah, we were gone a good month. Galapagos Islands, Zanzibar, Serengeti, the crater, Kilimanjaro, and of course Dubai twice. And then out to Florida twice and New York. And it's not stopping. We'll be in San Diego. I'm in Mar-a-Lago today, pissing off people, which was really fun. I don't understand why, as a professional speaker, why location is aggravating people. It's, I'd speak at Auschwitz if they paid me. I don't know
Location
why.
is political.
It's crazy. A location. I can understand it. But if I was a speaker like me and I was in my community, I would want me to be speaking at those locations, sharing the ideas that I have if you believe in those ideas, not condemning and punishing and attacking people. But nonetheless, there was some great support as well. It sold out in minutes. We had over 100 people on the wait list. We're going to do it again. And I apologize to anyone that has the need to be offended by me speaking at Mar-a-Lago. If you don't want to meet me at Mar-a-Lago, meet me at West Palm Marriott today at 1:30 p.m. And I'll be in San Diego tomorrow with Marshall Falk. So if you're not a Rams fan or a Colts fan, you may
Or
not want to
Seahawks
come.
fan.
Seahawks fan, you may not want to join me there. But anyway, I'm here on a mission like Blaine to empower other people to be happy. And that's truly what our first guest is here to do as well. The writer and producer at Good Life Revenge. Perfect timing to come on Office Hours. Let's welcome our friend Jared Pearman to Office Hours. Thank you, Jared, for your patience.
Hey, man, it's good to be here. Thank you.
Well, we're all into the good life, and Good Life Revenge is an anomaly, an oxymoron, and you are focused in on content, especially for children, to help to understand the Good Life Revenge. What is this oxymoron, this paradox about Good Life Revenge?
It's the classic phrase, the best revenge is living a good life, and so
I
that's
just I
that,
just said that this morning to one of my clients.
yeah.
Yeah.
I've had a lot of adversity and kind of got good at sailing into headwinds, and so that's where that name was born. It comes from my brother. My brother's my writing partner. We're the Pearman Brothers. We work on film, animation, video games. We got a big game and animated series coming out in March called Sky of Tides, and then we decided to launch our own studio last year and just start working on. We've been in the industry for a long time, working on other people's stuff, and it was like, you know what? It's time for us to branch out, start building our own things where we own the IP, we create everything, we run the whole show. Is in media, especially like when you're dealing with I've had a number of films that took 5 years to make. This video game was 7 years in production. It's been 2 years getting it through the publishing cycle in order to get it out in March. And all of those things are like, I don't even have access to the steering wheel. Not only do I not have my hands on it, I can't even see it. It's in another car. I'm in like a drone being controlled by somebody else. And so that's been our goal for this year, is just like, man, let's start driving this thing ourselves. And so we've got 2 new projects that we're getting off the ground that have a lot of momentum behind them, and we're really feeling it.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it is, and I like the broad spectrum approach that you are positioned with right now. In this launch, now there's a personal objective certainly for you and your brother, but what's and I'm going to preface this with this comment: the purpose of any business, ideally, the purpose of any business is to create the experience of uplift. Just create the experience of uplift in the consumer, the persons that are coming in contact with your service or product. What kind of experience are you looking to create in the kids and in the folks that will actually end up consuming what you're producing out there?
Yeah. So, in the digital field, like, we have an animated show that's called Otter House, which is a family of otters with a bluegrass band. They live in the Appalachian Mountains. They play family bluegrass band. It's really their connection into nature. It's really like beautiful family dynamics, like just centered on creativity, connection, and learning about the world around them. And it's like they live in this, it's called Otter House because they have this amazing house that's like, we kind of modeled it after Frank Lloyd Wright's Falling Waters, like the integration with nature.
Ooh.
But what does that look like if it was made by otters and beavers instead of Frank Lloyd Wright? So the materials are all rustic, but that idea of being connected, and it's got water slides and rivers running through the house and things like that. So it's really cool, and it like, I really love the process of creation. That's what I like getting kids into as well, is, having them connect to this idea of their own imagination. I really also like, we have a kids book series called the Guinea Pig Saga, which is about a group of guinea pigs. It's kind of loosely based on the book of Exodus, of like one guinea pig kind of gets the touch of God and realizes that they need to set off and escape from their captivity and go out and find freedom. And so, like, it's really fun. And that's like, we took the most ridiculous animal we could find and couched like all of these really kind of serious, like the fundamental human questions onto the most, the cutest, just absolutely ridiculous animals of the guinea pigs. And then I have a strong connection to classical culture. My wife here, I live in Calgary, Alberta. My wife's the founder of the Alberta Classical Academy, which has 3 locations. It's a charter school network. No screens in the classes. They read classical literature. They learn Latin. They explore the history that brought us here today, and leave the rest of learning about today to their families and things like that. The school's environment is really incredible, and that opened me up to a whole audience of families that are interested in classical and contemporary culture, and that where they come together. And so we're launching a magazine that has original new contemporary literature from ourselves and the network of writers that we're connected with, mixed in with classical literature and activities for kids based on that. And that's all, I still, especially for children, I love making screen-based content. Like, that's my job. But the more that you can get them off screens, give them something great to read, poetry and excerpts and short stories and things like that. That really opens up the mind, I think.
Yeah, I really am excited to see that we are changing back to developing the muscle of the imagination and this experiential presence that is missing. So many kids today have an energy suck between understanding I am and this is what I want people to think I am. And the think I am, which is so critical into the trajectory of what these children are developing into, cannot be one of virtual in its nature, of perfection. And the combination of technology and gaming and social media, where we have a false sense of reality, and we are pursuing a false sense of reality and creating an energy gap between this is who I am and what I'm doing to interfere with it, compared to this is what I think people think I am or want people to think I am. And it takes great content, whether it be for you in the things that you're doing to bring back the development of the imagination and the self-image, knowing our kids will never overachieve their own self-image. Launching a new venture with his brother called The Good Life Revenge. Books, shows, and magazines for kids to help develop the most powerful skill that they will ever have, their imagination. It takes great leaders and great talent like Jared Pearman to join us. Please promise us you'll come back on our other shows. We'd love to learn more. Anything we can do to promote Good Life Revenge, please let us know. Go to pearmanbrothers.com to learn more. Thanks for joining us, Jared.
Hey, you're awesome. I love everything you do, David. Thank you so much. Great to meet you, Blaine.
You bet, Jared. We'll get you on a couple of other shows.
Yeah, we'll get them back on, and we'll send them your way and get a little bit deeper. We know this is the stimulating interest. We purposely don't give people enough time. We want people to want more and to have them back, whether it's in person, on the phone, email, social. Come and join us around the country. All right, we're going right to our next guest from Texas, co-founder and CEO at crewexec.com. The incredible Adam McGraw is here today.
Hey guys, good morning. Good to meet you, David.
Great to meet you. Thanks for joining us. We appreciate you being on here.
Yeah.
We went from kids to senior executives and leaders, which Blaine's probably one of the leaders in the entire world on the World Business Council, my mentor. Both of us mentored by the greats, the Bob Proctors, the Dr. Wayne Dyers, the Mary Morrisseys, who's retiring, by the way, 50 years of doing her dream work as well.
Not retiring, celebrating.
Yeah, repurposing. Sorry.
Don't put her in the garage yet.
Repurposing. Nobody retires. They repurpose, especially people like that. And looking at these senior executives, there's a lot of interference between them and their potential, and you help them foster personal and professional growth. What are some of the biggest challenges as we both work with senior executives, Blaine and I, that you're seeing today that is inhibiting the personal and professional growth of our leaders?
Yeah, I mean, it's a good loaded opener question. Listen, I think the biggest thing is just the pace of change that's disrupting what everyone is typically known as normal. And so I think that, stability and security, as most senior executive paths have typically provided, is potentially no longer. And it really doesn't matter who you are. There's really not an industry or a vertical that isn't experiencing the shakeup, and then that trickles down. And so I think executives are in a place where that whole midlife crisis stuff that's always been around when we're in our 40s and 50s, and we're thinking about how success really looks now that we're kind of up a certain part of a mountain, or maybe we've reached the top of one and we're looking at another one. I think there's just a different form of introspection that's going to continue to happen over the coming 5 to 10 years, just because it's so different now. And so leaders need, I think, a background support system more than ever, whether it's through coaching or mentoring or more authentic communities. We're so connected digitally in today's day and age, but it's such a superficial level of connection, particularly at the leadership executives levels. So that's what we really aim to provide at Crew, right? Is this behind the scenes support system where leaders can just be very real, safe, and honest about all the stuff we're trying to figure out personally and professionally amidst all this change.
You mentioned in the opening comments that you provided there that the pace of change, the rapidity of change that we're experiencing today. And there's two thoughts that come to mind. One is that the problem with change is not necessarily the change itself, because most people, particularly in a business environment, can understand the business case for the change that's afoot. Yeah. But what's going on is the disruption to existing relationships that the change causes. And most leaders, in my experience, are not equipped to deal with that relational dynamic, that upset that occurs there. And leadership at the end of the day is a relationship activity. It's an art. It's a relationship art. In Crew, how are you working with these leaders, and how did the leaders actually work with themselves to facilitate greater empathy, I guess would be the word I would use here? Greater empathy for self to begin with, as they encounter the buzzsaw of change that goes on around them, such that they can actually facilitate something with their organization that keeps it on track.
Yeah, it's such well put, Blaine. I mean, it's, that we normally had groups, if we stayed in companies 5, 10, 15, 20 years, you found your little pockets, your crew inside your organization. And so, that is even getting disrupted, to your point. So we're really intentional about, first of all, leaders need to double down on their ability to leverage transferable knowledge, right? Being one-dimensional and being kind of heads down, tunnel vision experts, is now, in my opinion, and in a lot of folks' opinions, I think becoming more of a liability than it was the asset of so many years ago. So that's why we really open up the leadership ecosystem room to a very different form of networking. Most networking is narrow and niche. It's always functional based. It's always industry based, role charter based. And we've actually opened it up to across the board because we really want people in similar phases of life and career, but sitting around with a lot of different perspectives, startup folks with enterprise folks, right? Heads of sales with heads of marketing, heads of HR, and experiencing that melting pot perspective and knowledge, just really getting the brain to get into the white space land that when you're in an organization that's under constant change, stress, and adversity, you probably don't do a great job of. And opening up also the ability to be as open personally as you are professionally. I find a lot of leaders, I know this was me, don't have great friend networks because they spend so much time in their work life. And then the work life, to your point, has been disrupted. And then the friend networks, if they're honest with themselves, are a little bit on the superficial side. Or maybe it's people that they really have a lot of fun with on the weekends, right? But they don't have that relatability component.
Yeah.
Finding all of that, like we vibe together, we have fun together, but you also like totally get the crap I'm trying to deal with here. That's not necessarily easy when you spend, 60 hours a week working and traveling. And so we really encourage that. And, groups like YPO have been doing this forever, right? That personal, professional, blended support vibe and openness. And then the other piece, David, this should ring true to you because I love your focus on this, is we really want these leaders talking about supporting each other around, hey, not just success, titles, money, metrics, and accolades. Am I getting as much meaning and fulfillment as I can in what we joke here internally is our back nine of our career in life, right? And really being honest about that with ourselves. And those discussion points, right? The diversity, the personal professional blend, and the focus on meaning fulfillment, not just traditional forms of success, is how, Blaine, we're trying to orchestrate a more real, authentic form of networking connection.
Beautiful.
And with the last couple of minutes, Adam, one of the components I see that has had a great impact on my own life, and it's a muscle, but it's a muscle that's needed when uncertainty is accelerated as it is today, especially for leaders, is humility. It's hard when you've been an expert, a subject matter topic expert for 50 years. And because of the acceleration in technology, that you are now a neophyte. Yeah. And you may have to rely on a 19-year-old to explain to you the importance of your own business. Right. Or not just the importance of your own business, the success of your own business. In this idea of creating a crew, how does humility interplay into this empowerment of leaders?
It's crucial to your point, David, right? We actually are trying to create an ecosystem where the strongest leaders in the room are the ones willing to be most self-aware and vulnerable about the things they don't know, and that they're right, that keeps them up at night. And so, my journey, my backstory really led me through that path because I worked deeply with a guy named Shirzad Shamin, who's a world-renowned thought leader, wrote book Positive Intelligence, and runs one of the largest coach training companies in the world, or did when I met him. And that work really helped me understand all the things I've struggled with my whole life. And I went off did all this coaching that ultimately led to me to Crew, where the framework helps disarm folks. And so we embed, tools and frameworks like that into the early days of folks joining the community so that they immediately sense that this is a no peacocking environment, right? Jackets off and be who you are. Everyone has kinks in their armor. And that's what we want to encourage here, David, especially in today's day and age.
So smart. And I know that vulnerability and humility reminds me of my mom's, favorite quote of "You're either humble or you're about to be." And that's more true today than ever as a great leader or someone who aspires to be one. Adam, please join us again. We want your insights. I encourage you to reach out to Blaine. He's been an expert in leadership for so long, been my mentor in this particular aspect of my life and has helped me with extreme growth. So reach out to Blaine. He has a show that he'd love to have you on, and I have other shows as well. The founder of Crew, Adam McGraw, and look forward to seeing you at South by Southwest, if not sooner.
Cheers, guys. Thank you very
much. Take care, Adam.
All right. You got it. Take care. Great interview, man. Thank you.
Good stuff. Really good stuff. I like what he's up to.
Yeah, me too. Very much so. So All right, we are getting to our last guest here, and I've lost my notes.
I've got
So
him
why
here.
don't you introduce our next guest? Thank you.
Okay. Yeah. Tom Healy's in the green room. Tom, come on up.
Oh, Tom's here. All right, right on.
Yeah,
Go
there
ahead.
we
The
go.
Hey
introduction's all
guys,
you.
thanks for having me.
What a
Hey,
beautiful
it's great
smile
to
and what
have you
great
here.
energy. Blaine, introduce our friend.
Yeah, he's the founder CEO of People Ops 360, and we'll get that in the Sharon here in a little bit here. But you know, as firms grow, and I'm very intrigued with this. I've got an organization back in Japan that I worked with for about 36 years, and they provide services to existing organizations that are fundamentally in what we would classically call the HR space. And these are firms that are mid-size, small to mid-size, that from a financial perspective, if they had to take time and build out a complete HR suite, if you will, it wouldn't serve them particularly well. So what you're up to with People Ops 360, you're small and mid-sized companies building effective modern HR departments without the cost or complexity of creating one from scratch. I mean, when you start looking at the value of outsourcing, for most organizations, particularly at that stage in their growth cycle, HR does not necessarily serve as a strategic partner in the growth cycle. It's more of kind of we got checks and balances here, and we got blocking and tackling that we need to do, and the founders usually don't know exactly what they need to do around that. From a compliance perspective and some other stuff.
How often are you guys interacting with founders that say, look, after many years in deep HR work, I decided to spin off this restaurant chain or this software company. People don't typically come out, of HR to be a founder of a company. So, they're great at sales, they're great at marketing, they've created that widget, they've done an amazing job, but then they go, gosh, it's out of my garage. I now have a team of people. How do I stay compliant? How do we take the culture of the organization, the strategy of the organization, and actually mechanically put that into our people operations? And, that's really, as a entrepreneur myself, I think that's where we shine is tell me the culture you want, tell me the type of organization you want, tell me how you want to drive execution. Now we can build a people operation structure that can execute on that. But it rarely happens in companies, and below a certain size, especially under 100 employees, HR people have become insanely expensive. So I can't afford the person I want to run this. I can either pay what I can pay, which I'm not going to like the person I hire, or to your point, let me just outsource this to people that can be my HR manager for me, and it's one less thing I have to worry about.
Spot on. Yeah.
And as we look at this in a holistic perspective, communicating that value can be a challenge. And today I help, and Blaine assists in helping people build that community to raise the awareness, so you have the opportunity to articulate the value of what you're doing, but also to be able to articulate that value gets cumbersome and slow. What have been some of the successful mechanisms that you're utilizing today to elevate the awareness to what you're doing, and to be able to articulate the value of a more holistic, pragmatic operational system that can assist in a bottom line growth?
Yeah, so awareness, we're exclusively distributing through referral partners, which means who are the other trusted advisors working with the CEO of the company. It might be coming at it from a IT standpoint, a financial standpoint, a marketing standpoint, executive coaching. So who are those people that the CEO says, hey, I have this problem, do you know anyone? And so we've built great referral partnerships. We're continuing to look for great referral partners. And of course, we bring our clients to them when appropriate as well. As far as the value goes, I just try to have a very candid founder to founder, CEO to CEO conversation with prospective clients. and really understand what pain is this causing you. Is it wasting a tremendous amount of your time? Are you being forced into firefighting HR issues? Is this a issue with not being able to retain good people? Are you not able to find the right people? Are your people taking 90 days to get up to speed and into production when we could cut that down to 30? So I'm just really trying to, understand what this is causing them. And again, waste of time, waste of money, and then great, let us just handle that for you.
Real quick, if I could, David, here.
Yeah, please.
Because this again, we got 10 minutes, short segment here. We lift the cover up and go, oh, that's kind of interesting. We don't get much depth into that, and this is completely self-serving. I want to bring you back on my podcast, The Soul of Business, because what I want to specifically talk about is, as an outsourced resource, how do you facilitate cultural development in an organization? Because you're not in the organization. So and we don't need to work on that right now, but I just want to plant the seed because we got some.
I'd love that, and I'd love that, and I'll just say that I think that's probably why we're as valuable to our clients as we are, is being able to get that culture out of the CEO's head or off the wall and say, okay, let's tactically actually implement that.
Yeah, I think that understanding of culture is so important, because people, and I will repeat this till the end of ad nauseum, that people work for a culture, not a company anymore. And this will be one of those areas, as we build culture, that will allow us to stay empowered as things change quicker and quicker. And that's why, believe it or not, I spend the majority of my time teaching gratitude and forgiveness and accountability and effective communication, because by the time I get them to catch on about some way to utilize AI, it's changed, and I need them empowered to be able to adjust, adapt in a divine way, aligned with the values first that build a culture, the practices, behaviors that build a culture, and the execution that confirms the culture, regardless of the circumstances, the evidence that isn't there or may change very quickly.
And let's say a CEO of a company goes all in on your message and believes it wholeheartedly and says, I want my entire organization to understand this. And then it's just, how do I do that? And I think that's where we step in is, how do we conduct one-to-ones with people inside the organization? What's our interview process look like? Onboarding? How do we gracefully offboard people? But, someone can completely buy into everything you're saying, but okay, I have 85 people in my organization. How in the heck do I translate that down to them and make sure that they all align with this culture that I really do want to have? And it's all the boring stuff, right? It's, let me see the interview questions. Let me see the job descriptions. Let me see the first 30 days of your training. And frankly, a lot of these companies just look at you with a blank stare because they don't have this stuff, or it's not nearly where it needs to be.
Well, then you have the challenge that the simple things to do are simple not to do. And to find someone to do the simple things that have the most impact are also simple not to do. And that's why people need People Ops 360. Call on Tom. He can change the entire culture, actually get them engaged and productive in an aligned divine direction of where, as a leader, you would want your company to be through the empowerment process from start to finish, from entrance to exit. Tom, we have many more shows. We have much more time. You have passed the test. You will be on to the next show. Thanks so much for joining us.
Great. Look forward to it. Have a great day, guys. Thanks.
You too, man. Thank you so much. All right, Double B. These guests were right up your alley, so I'm counting on you to have a killer takeaway of the day.
Relationship. I'm going to just drop that one right on. Everything's about a relationship. I mean, at the end of the day, the relationship with myself, but also the relationship that I have with others. If relationships are working well, I got a pretty good shot at being successful in life. Period. Full stop. That's kind of how it works. And that's, whether I've got animated cartoons and in books and that sort of stuff that I'm putting out there. I was really struck by that first comment that Jared was talking about his academy. We teach Latin. Who teaches Latin anymore? I mean, the idea of education. I have a relationship with education. It's not just creating widgets that will be interchangeable in a business environment. I want whole people that can come to work, which is where we get our next two guests coming into play here. How do we actually lead these organizations when we have autonomous people that are acting with agency because they're intelligent and have been well educated? There's a relationship dynamic to that, and we've dropped the ball in that in many ways, I think, today.
Yeah, my takeaway is, as I've been studying and restudying, I should say, Hawkins, Dr. Hawkins, and empowerment versus enforcement. And we've moved to this period of enforcement and counter forces of enforcement, and with acceleration and movement, obviously force is part and parcel to movement, where power stands still and empowerment stands still. And so I'm seeing a trend, more and more people going back to the power and leaving behind the enforcement and the force, to relegate and delegate from the acceleration that technology has occurred and created. So empowerment versus enforcement is my takeaway of the day. I am empowered by the incredible Blaine Bartlett, blainebartlett.com. This is Office Hours, the soul of business, moving possibilities to reality. If you were wondering who's mentoring me, you can blame Blaine Bartlett. He's the one that teaches me with the wisdom and the faith that I have to be my best self, to pursue my possibilities into reality. Blaine Bartlett, thanks for joining me on Office Hours.
You bet, buddy. Welcome back. Let's get connected.
Good luck on your trips. I know you got a few ahead of you as well. Send my love to everybody. The incredible Blaine Bartlett, everyone. All right, that'll do it for today. Come and meet us here at West Palm Beach Marriott before we go speak at Mar-a-Lago, 1:30 p.m. in the lobby at the West Palm Marriott. If you're in Florida, come and join me today. If not, if you're in San Diego, Orange County, LA, Ventura, wherever you are, Marshall Falk and I are rocking and rolling at noon in San Diego. Email me, david@dmeltzer.com, then SoFi Mastermind, then Charlotte Aspire Business Tour, and then Super Bowl, then the Pebble Beach Pro-Am. That's just a few of the 200 cities we're going to be at. If you want to be informed and invited, 949-298-2905. That's the text community to be informed and invited to all the cool shit that we do. If you don't want to be informed or invited, do not text us at 949-298-2905. And remember, you can always email me for guides, exercises, and books, david@dmeltzer.com. Most importantly, be more interested than interesting. Be kind to your future self and do good deeds. Hit it, Gigi.